I've always looked up to was Froggen. I've always loved his creativity in the game and how he tries to approach it from an outside the box perspective. Sometimes I've been a little bit of a copycat, you know, I've been like trying to play some Anivia, trying to play some Karthus, but just in general trying to watch and learn from him and how, you know, you can creatively problem solve in the game to get wins.
Hi guys, this is Crumbs with the Honda Scouting Ground Report. I have been looking at the junglers for this tournament, and particularly two players, Inori and Fnatic. They came up through the solo queue ladder and the Scouting Ground circuit, and the challenges that these two players have faced are a little bit different. I think Inori, he had some LCS experience before, and his challenge has been, how do you forget the way that the game was played 3 to 4 years ago and adapt to today? I think the coaches have done a really good job in helping him understand how the meta has shifted. And with the global tournament that just happened with Worlds, I think that he now understands that if you want to make it to the top level, you're going to have to change your play style a bit. And with somebody like Fnatic, we've seen this guy be a solo queue monster, but maining a champion like Nunus, a champion that has rarely been played at the international level, let alone the LCS. And now with the guidance of the coaches, he's now been able to pick up his Lee Sin and really has been crushing. They're now going to be playing in the finals. So I'm really excited to see what is going to happen with these guys moving forward as they receive more and more coaching status, especially now that they're going to be playing on stage, which are going to be matches that the teams are going to value infinitely more than all the scrims that have happened so far. So tune in for those games because that is where all the marbles are at. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Crumbs. Welcome back to the Honda Scouting Grounds. And it's interesting to hear that because, yeah, they've obviously been going through the motions each week, or each day of the week, but this now means so much more on stage. It definitely amps up the nerves and the intensity that you're feeling, and things change.
Especially when you know the community is going to judge you based off of these games, right? There's all these people who are watching at home. These are the only games they get to see. So even if you smurfed all week long, if you are running it down on the stage games, that's all anyone gets to see.
I mean, sitting there at night, reading all the Twitch chat printouts, you know, making sure you did good. All the Challenger pros letting you know.
How you read it?
Yeah. Print them out?
Yeah, of course. You get them printed out.
You get the peel off the ears of the paper.
They sing out Twitch chat.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful stuff.
Summoner's Riff comes sings it for me.
Well, that's nice.
Acapella group.
Yeah. How many marbles do you have to give him for that?
My best cat's eye, that's for sure.
Okay.
Cloud versus Inferno as we get into our next game. We actually had 3 Cloud Drakes last game. None of them grabbed by Cloud. So just really a Twilight Zone that's going on at the moment.
What do you know?
What? I don't know. That's what I told you.
Yeah. You also know Cat's Eye Marbles. So
Cat's Eye Marbles.
I'm impressed. There's a marble collector out there that's now just a Root fan. All right. We're into the pick ban. We're going through it pretty quickly. It looks pretty similar. We do have both teams staying on the same side here. Infernal banned Olaf last time around. Cloud have actually banned out the Gragas, so they obviously don't want to pick it this time. They are going to be looking to go a different direction, and it is going to be a GP ban out here from Infernal. Zig having some really strong GP performances throughout this week.
Pick it.
They are a little bit worried about that. I don't think we're going to get a first pick Maokai. I'm going to tell you that much.
Wow. Thanks for
bold prediction.
Everything.
Won't be Maokai first pick.
Ooh, Wolfie says, no rise for you this time. I'm going to be the one scaling up. So we'll see what Fire has for the other side there. He still has pretty great Orianna to be playing, which is always fun to kind of just throw over at Rise as he tries to farm.
Yeah, the Syndra also a good matchup into the Rise.
Very
true. Saw that, Fire played it great, right? And he was kind of rewarded for that. If you can play one of these scaling champions and have a really successful early game, you can set yourself up so well for the mid and late game, where he really did run over Cloud. We got to remember this could be top lane Rise also, so it is going to be a bit more difficult to select your solo laners until we see a bit more coming out here from Cloud. So they are just going to grab very likely support and jungle, but Fire did play Nautilus 2 games, if I recall correctly. Could have been more, but I saw at least 2 games, I think, during this week. So could
that's
be that
nice flex with
Nautilus
Weiss,
mid.
too.
Yeah.
So they can get a little bit of trickery there onto Cloud with not knowing where Nautilus will go for. Infernal, the Leona is picked up, however, for the side of Sandpaper X and Cloud. He'll be going in on those initiations, have a Rise behind him. What else will they set up?
Kai'Sa would make a lot of sense alongside the Leona. You already have CC to kind of apply that plasma. I think it is a really strong pick in the meta. It's popular with Gorica, so going to be able to lock that in. I like the selection. And it will be Syndra. So yeah, Syndra, he's just going to be running it back and playing the opposite side of the matchup. So
Flip the script.
this is a way to flex on your opponent, right? If you win both sides of the matchup here as 5 Fire, that is really a statement about your skill level compared to here to Wolfie. And we'll see, can Wolfie have a similar level of performance that 5 Fire did? Because he really was, up in farm. We heard Golden Glue talking about on the analyst desk how it's a very tough early matchup for that Rise, but 5 Fire was able to navigate it really, really well.
Fun story, Vex was playing yesterday at Mountain, and he played a Kai'Sa Tristana matchup, and he won that matchup. And he's like, I think Triss can do well in that matchup. So he took Triss next game against a Kai'Sa to see. Yeah. He's like, all right, I love seeing that mentality. It's kind of like, I'll test myself even more right now.
I'll beat you on both sides.
Oh, what is next?
They could just go similar bans to last time if they actually are happy with Evan Arl playing the Ezreal. Yes, Inferno did win the game, but I think having him on that Ezreal does kind of relegate you to playing fairly defensively in the early games. It is going to give priority, or at least it should, over to Gorica as well as SPX, who already have quite a strong lane locked in there. Lucian was banned out last time around. It won't be this time. So Evan Arl, if he wants to go that aggressive option, can grab it as it was opened up. So we'll be looking more to brawl in this 2v2. And Nautilus plus Lucian is a lane that can really brawl. Don't get baited, Rib.
I love it. I want it everywhere. Top lane, mid lane, bot lane.
Little jungle Draven.
Little jungle Draven.
Yeah.
You just stand aside the camp, catch your axes. You're always running fast.
Sounds good.
It should be a great fight bot. 1 second left. It's going to go over to the Elise for Inori. Definitely might want... I don't know. That bot lane's pretty hard to dive coming up at level 3 or 4. So maybe they'll go in. Maybe they'll stay out. Maybe it's focused on top. We'll see what Misty Stumpy gets here in just a second. Well, yeah, they could easily dive now with the Aurelia lock-in.
I mean, the Elise is a bit of a flex here. It's not considered a good matchup into Olaf, right? So, I mean, flex as far as, like, you're feeling pretty confident about your own play. But that being said, Nori has had some really, really good games on the Elise. I think that was his actual standout champion for me throughout the week. And even thinking back to day one, the PC Bond games prior to the actual team draft, he was absolutely running over the competition on the Elise. So this is the kind of champion where he can make these kind of solo trips into the opposing team's jungle and look to get solo kills, look to really snowball the game. You also have to remember, this is Renekton paired alongside that Elise. So will be very, very difficult for Misty Stumpy played up on that top side. The 1v1, I do think is Kennen favored in the early stages.
Agreed.
But if you're pushing, you're exposing yourself so much to that gank from Elise, and it's such an easy setup with the empowered stun coming out of Renekton, guarantees the cocoon will hit, and if that hits, you are just done. So we'll see how he's going to be able to play out this top lane. You really do have to manage your waves very, very well. And also, we need to see Winston covering Misty Stumpy when they are going for slow pushes and trying to set up for a dive in that top lane.
Right, you'll be able to see it coming. You can figure out where the map cadence has kind of swung to, and be like, all right, Renekton has like 9 or 10 minions built up. This could be a problem, and it is. Like you said, for the Kennen, you fall behind a little bit, and you become basically a stun bot for the team after that. Everybody can kill you in a second, and you might not even... No, okay, I was like, you might get pushed out of the fight, but 5 Fire has the Syndra, so no worries for him there. They still have an explosive composition on that side of Inferno. I mean, same thing for Cloud, as they want to now pick up a game to keep themselves alive in this fourth game series. Game 2 of this best of 3. We'll see what they have here as we get onto the map. Ocean is going to be our first Drake out. As you can see, Baron in 20 minutes, if you ever wondered.
Oh, they should start setting up for that.
Yep, they should.
Get their wards.
Get your pink ward out.
Yeah, they don't expire, so should still be there. Ocean, though, definitely very popular in NA. People love to fight for that first dragon, and both these junglers are champions that can look to solo early on if they have priority around mid and bot.
And we have a quick sideline report with Pastry and Invert.
Hey, I'm here with Invo. I have a little sideline report here. I actually want to ask you, even though we are at the games now, what's the week been like for you? Because obviously we're seeing games broadcast at the moment, but there's been a whole week of work for you. So what's kind of the biggest difference you've seen in these players from the first day to now?
Yeah, so we had a roster with essentially 0 prior Academy or LCS experience. So we actually just used our series to brute force teachable moments for these guys. So that included stuff like invades, making sure that they understood how to move around the map properly, how to ward properly, how to use their recalls properly, that kind of stuff. So, I don't think the record really reflects their growth because we as a coaching staff decided to train them by kind of forcing the issue on that. So yeah, and I think they kind of showed it in the first game, the growth from where they were initially, and I think they've just gotten better throughout the entire event, and it's really awesome that Riot is doing something like this for these players so that we can bring up talent potentially to that academy level.
Well, it certainly seems like so far so good. Invert, thank you very much for joining me. Riven and Zale, back to you guys.
Thank you so much. We're here a little bit from Invert, one of the coaches for Inferno, as we see them getting pretty aggressive in the beginning.
Yeah, talking about teaching them that invades, they had a really powerful level 1 with those 3 champions. They wanted to look for it, but the timing wasn't there. And Winston is actually now set quite a bit behind the pace because the red buff was dead before they actually got around the corner to contest that. Had they been there 5-10 seconds earlier, that could have gone really, really well for Infernal, but as a result, Winston just now finishing his first camp. He's moving on to the second. Nori is going to be a full camp ahead because that was a lot of time committed, to walk across, get nothing out of that, then have to retreat back to your own jungle. The one thing they did force, though, was the flash out of the Nori, and that is going to have him, in a much more dangerous situation. If you actually ever run into Winston in a 1v1, there is the potential for Winston to kind of chase you down on this Olaf, and also makes your solo laners feeling a little bit more safe, knowing that there's no potential of that flash cocoon for the next 5 minutes.
Right. So helpful to have that repel, keep himself safe, so we may see a Nori being a Nori here soon, but off to Scuttles to start things off, as they'll be up in just a second, but maybe to kind of scout out where he could find Winston first, knowing he had a late blue buff to get back to, and now he's going to have a little fun at red.
I mean, Winston's got to know he was coming over here. And Nori crossed 2 wards, so if you get surprised by this, that is definitely a mistake, and he is going to lose the red buff, so Winston getting pretty low here, and now he could just be in trouble.
FiveFire had priority on the lane, already pushed back. Winston in a fight, and he's going to get that last bit of health to come through. Misty Stumpy's on the roll. Zig actually has a charge up on that bar. You got to be very careful what happens in this fight. Misses the Thundering Shuriken. That Sig coming in, going to get a big call to Meek, but no, Ruthless Predator first to take down FiveFire. Do they have the follow? That's going to be the double buffs now over to FiveFire, getting a bit of a refresh. There's the scat of the week, and they're going to follow this one up, possibly zagging on the Zig. He's going to take a few more shots, and he goes down a double kill to start off FiveFire Syndra.
Yeah, FiveFire, double kill, and he gets the double buffs off of his opponent there. And Nori starting up that invade, but it was always FiveFire who was going to be able to actually make the collapse faster.
Right.
Winston, when you are playing Olaf on this first clear, you actually get very low, and you want to be low because you're actually clearing it out faster. So we're right back to live, but
Nori wants his buffs.
Nori was like 1 auto from killing Winston, but the stun came through from FiveFire, who could make the collapse much more quickly, and that bought enough time for Winston to get that damage out, get the first blood, and yes, he went down, but that put them so much ahead in that eventual, what turned into basically a 3v3, that it is 2 kills going the way of the Syndra, who already has priority in this early matchup. That is a lost chapter first buy, which is going to make it so difficult now for Wolfie in this 1v1.
Orb after orb, FiveFire can spit out now with that mana regen coming up. Winston's just on the bottom side, 3v3, but they're a bit scattered here. Weiss did want to give him some help, but you have to let him go on that point. A good pinch coming in from Cloud right off the back of a lost fight.
Yeah, nice little roam from Wolfie, but you have to say, it felt like he had enough time to actually just flash over the wall. Right? There's no flash on a Nori or Wolfie, so if you see Rise and you immediately flash up, into your own jungle, there should be no follow there. So Winston should have been able to escape, I feel, with his life, albeit a summoner down. You don't really want to see that, but I think it would have been the play to go for here, and does end up donating a kill over. And Nori still just trying to gank nonstop here on the Elise. I've got to give him credit for that. Has been very aggressive in these early minutes.
On the bottom side, still has some top to clear, so if he doesn't get anything here, he's got some resources to pick up. Weiss, good damage coming on. And they're not going to be able to finish that one off, so Nori is kind of left out to dry on this. Red buff should be up soon, so he will scuttle back over there and grab that one.
Yeah, and Nori couldn't get the angle, actually, for that cocoon.
Yep.
As SPX went in, it was a great engage, but the minions aggroed, it looked like, onto SPX and kind of flared out, so that there was a minion in between Nori and his target really the whole time. So he wasn't able to actually get that follow-up cocoon, despite the fact that CC did land. They will push Infernal off of that Ocean Dragon, though, and the more time you spend down here on this bottom side, it's going to give free time for Misty Stumpy, who is playing that Klepto Cannon and who is level 6 already. So Wave in a great spot for him. It's going to be slow pushing back towards the Cannon, which means, you know, he does not have to even expose himself whatsoever right now to a potential gank. And Zig is basically just stuck sitting on the side trying to soak experience.
I think he's waiting as well for Misty Stumpy. If he uses Lightning Rush in lane, you get a cannon super hard. But Misty Stumpy always playing very technical, very sound in his play style, and never kind of changing what he's doing, what's been winning him the lane.
Yeah, and he also knows Elise recalled on bottom side.
True.
So Elise
Gotta think of everything.
is possible, you know, could be up there soon. And you know, Elise is up on that top side now, having taken the scuttle. So 5 Fire, guess where he's going to play? He's going to play down towards bottom side. This is just intelligent stuff. You have 2 pinks in the river on bottom side. Your support is roaming up from that side. So if Elise can play top, you need to move down. And this is the point now where Winston needs to be pathing up towards top lane to cover a potential dive. Nori just showed on that ward. Winston needs to run straight up there to try to defend it, but it is going to be 4 members here.
Oh, in the brush, he almost denies it, throws down the Slicing Maelstrom. They're going to be on the turret, but that's a lot of damage for SPX to deny from the turret aggro. They get 2. Nicely done with the in and out as they take down Winston and Stumpy on Infernal.
Yeah, great realm orb. 4 members showing up. It wasn't just that 2-man dive that Winston would have been there in time to actually prevent had it just been Nori and Zig. I think they would have been fine, but they're able to bring in the extra members, get the engage, get 2 kills onto your Rise, deny a ton of farm. Misty Stumpy was up like 15 CS. Now it's going to be basically even, if not him being behind after all of this is gone. So the advantage completely now gone for that Kennen. Rise sitting on 3 early kills, and Rise feels like the recipe success in these 2 games. Winston was pathing up here.
Here comes Moby Boots Leona as well from the bot lane. Little return on investment there.
Yeah, the early investment on that roaming power. Winston wants to go over and try to get in here on SPX, but SPX, with the Aftershock as well as the resistances from that W, is very, very tanky even early on here. So as soon as that is up, they just didn't have the return damage possible, and Winston ends up going down again.
Pressure win towards the bot side. May call down Nori for a moment to see if Winston could be around here, but I don't think that's anything. 2-0-1 though in the mid lane for 5 Fire against the 3-1-1 of Wolfie. Great to see the mid lane kind of going back and forth again this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive that Gorka is only down 5 CS when his support has roamed, quite a bit. Roamed up to that top side of the map, then would have to reset and come all the way back down. And you are against a strong early lane here with the Nautilus solution, so they were not able to find any sort of dive. Gorka pretty much dead even here as far as the farm goes, and Inori's sneaking into this brush. They could look for this. Solar Flare's available. Gets his flash.
Miss, holding in the wing is a Winston. They want to come over the wall in the blast cone. They do have that vision. Sweeper down for a Nori. It's not going to be Winston coming over, though. He goes slow for the Scuttle Crab. They don't want to get a fight just yet. Stop him from the back. Always the fun little back games you get to play with people. Winston across mid. They're going to push in here as well for 5 Fire. Yeah, help him get down to the turret so they can get the map cleared out. Rift Herald could be on the minds of one of these teams coming up here at 10 minutes now. 4-3. We have Winston, or I'm sorry, Zig and Stumpy fighting in the top lane a bit back and forth. Looking at those items, the Kindle Gem and the Revolver just to the boots of Zig. It doesn't feel good as a Renekton to have to build against this, but you can still be Renekton as the game goes on.
Yeah, you can, and he's kind of scaling up. He has the pulse, right? So he got the, not a great early buy by any means, but he is going to be farming that out. He is going to be able to survive with the Merc Treads, and multiple members here from Infernal, as we are going to be seeing Stumpy just going towards a first item Protobell. So that is going to signify he wants a team fight. It's going to be less about the 1v1. This is not the Gunblade style, try to contest in the side lane. And I think this honestly makes more sense. Early on in the game, you can have an advantage against the Renekton, but given an item or two, you won't actually ever be able to win the 1v1 against the Renekton
Nope.
anymore. So just build for that 5v5.
Oh, 5Fire in a bad spot, flashes out. He's gonna get the solar flare right to the face, and that is a lot of kill coming in onto him. 5Fire goes down twice, is now gold, but it looks like he could fall to the damage of Rise, but it's Gorica to get the final shot on. The killer instinct and everything coming out from Gorica, and he is able to pick up 2 for himself.
Yeah, 5Fire didn't seem like he was aware of how many members of Cloud had collapsed towards that mid lane. So posturing very aggressively, feeling confident about their ability to 3v3, but multiple members show up, and he just got CC chained down very effectively. Even with the flash and cleanse, he does end up going down.
Gorica actually getting 1 there. Apologize. 3-1 and 3 for Wolfie, 2-1 and 4 for Inori. They're having a much better spread of the advantages this game, 6-3 as they come up on 12 minutes. And we just talked about Rift Herald. It is going to be taken by Cloud after that victory in mid lane.
Yeah, and they're going to be feeling pretty good about that because you can see the gold is basically dead even. You know, slight advantage for Infernal, and they do have the Ocean as well. But yeah, this is 5Fire just not aware that SPX and Inori are in the area. So he cleanse flashes out of that cocoon with the ult there to follow up, and now 5Fire getting caught out. He's going to go down again.
Whoa. Taking an interesting pathing towards that top turret to try to get the save. Rift Herald already used as well. This one may be meeting a second tier turret as nobody's top side to get the defense on this.
Yeah, they're trying to trade on the bottom side, trying to get that turret, trying to push in mid, but Cloud is going to get first turret of the game. A lot more gold being donated into Inori as well as Zig. Now, these two guys, a lot of LCS experience drafting this powerful 2v2 and now setting themselves up well for success. It's going to be half the HP off the tier 2 as well, and not really even that close, actually knocking down bot or mid. They're going to be able to defend both.
See how Misty Stumpy's working here. 0-1-2, bid up in CS. He is 5,200 to 4,500, but that impact I don't think is just felt from Kennen yet. I feel like a 4,500 Renekton's still going to sting a little bit more as the team fight comes around. Wolfie pushing out Misty Stumpy a bit. He knows he doesn't want to take that fight just yet, as Wolfie's had a much better game. 3-1 and 3 on the rise. Kind of telling 5Fire I can do it too, but 5Fire's also stepped up with a few of the kills to keep his Syndra in this game.
Yeah, it's been more about the roam for Wolfie, less about that 1v1. Misty Stumpy, though, gonna get dope here.
Isaac, it feels so bad as a Kennen to be the one that gets picked on. Misty Stumpy's feeling that this game. Can't even get the Proto Belt off to do a little, or he actually just bought it, but can't even do much to get out of that situation other than slicing Maelstrom as mid lane is taken down. So he doesn't go down for nothing. They're going to get some good gold here and open up the map to start spreading those wards a little bit further into Cloud's jungle.
Yeah, I think the play, given retrospect and full vision, you would want to see him go for is actually just clear the wave with your ultimate there. You're going to die either way. There's kind of no way. So try to go ahead in that turret trade and just try to clear out the wave using the Proto Belt, using the ultimate to try to get that done. They will crack mid lane turret though, so Infernal keeping the gold close. They do have the double dragon advantage, so they're going to have all of the mana that they really need to work with. And now up to this top side, it may be another turret going the way of Infernal, which will put them pretty much dead even in gold.
Get it. Nice. That one time where you're like, whoops, I thought you were going to hit it. 5Fire backs off, and so does Winston. Had a bit of a rough early game, but stood his ground. Was really able to help 5Fire come out big in the early fight. Now to the mid lane. Weiss goes down under his own turret as Cloud not really seeing the turrets. They're just going for the engages as they get them, and rightly so with the Leona. They should be going every time she can.
It's the Goon Squad, man. Power in numbers. You group up, you run around, you look for engages, and Cloud has just been moving around the map better than their opponents this game. The gold lead is not that big because there are farm edges on the other side. There's Klepto on the Kennen. There's almost 40 CS advantage for Winston. He's just been kind of power farming well. Inori has been ganking. But you have to give a lot of credit to Wolfie and SPX, who I think have done a fantastic job this game, grouping up with their jungler, moving around the map, pulling off dives, always pushing forward vision and trying to threaten their opponents. And we'll just see if that is kind of buying enough time now for the Rise, for this Kai'Sa and the Renekton to really kind of make use of that, right? Because champions like the Elise are going to fall off at a certain point of the game, and he's kind of prioritizing spending his time ganking instead of farming. But that's buying time for these other guys, these kind of hyper carries, to farm up and hopefully take over later.
Looking at Gorica now in the mid lane, 1-0-2 on this Kaisa. Has felt pretty comfortable playing that throughout the tournament. He does say going pro has been like that dream. It kind of means everything to him. So I'm sure this weekend, like being able to sit with teams, diagnose what's going on, and kind of look at your own gameplay has been an awesome experience for him, and he has leveled up.
It's an amazing environment here at Scouting Grounds. Being around all these players who are so excited, having all of the resources there with these pros walking around, with all of the coaching staff around. There's so much for these players to learn, and I think it's such an exciting environment for these guys who are motivated to get better, who are motivated to go pro. And all of a sudden, instead of just hanging out, at your house playing by yourself, and maybe you have kind of a small network of friends who are going to try to help you improve, or some limited coaching staff at some of the colleges, you have basically an entire LCS worth of coaches who are willing to help you and give you time. So the improvement that can be made at an event like this is enormous.
The overall idea that the opportunity is there, I think, is absolutely amazing. Oh, Wolfie trying to get in. SPX over the wall with the Hex Flash. Doesn't get himself in too good of a spot. Nice dodge on the Zenith's blade. Winston with the undertow going in. Hook onto Inori. Going to expect to repel from there. Depth charge back to Gorica, but he's able to get the big damage. Kennen goes through. Misty Stumpy now trying to get everything. Misses with the Proto Belt as he gets a little too hyped in the situation. And now they're scattered. A 2-2 for Cloud, but they might be able to get to the back line of the fight. Evan and Winston getting this up to a safe spot. Wolfie just a few more hits for himself. Turns around a bit too early with no turret aggro, and now Inferno looks for more. They are lighting up the map. Undertow scatter hits. In goes Zig. Uses the Ruthless Predator. Drops 5 fire, and that's going to be a kill on both sides. A little bit of retribution pickup there as both teams are looking to pack that gold into their pockets. And there are the 2 final kills for Inferno. It takes so long. These fights are so long, but it is going to be Inferno to come out on top.
And that is an ace. 5-4-2. So kiss all of that hard work goodbye for Cloud, who had been building up an advantage very slowly. Not only do you get ace, you lose the Infernal, and so much of this really was about the Kennen. Kennen being able to actually TP in here. He realizes the fight is breaking out, and he doesn't have time to actually run the rest of the way, so it is a very short distance TP, but Cloud was so stacked, and he's going to get into the back line, pushing out Wolfie, pushing out Gorica as well. They just got absolutely lit up, and despite the fact that Zig and Nori are standing strong on the other side, have taken down the support, the much more valuable kills had gone the way of Infernal. They had already eviscerated the backline, already taken that out, and Zig does find a good turn here as Fire stepped a little bit too close, but the strength of this Olaf, the strength of this Lucian at this point in the game, if you can't actually burst down the Olaf, he gets Conqueror stacked up. The amount of healing coming through is actually pretty huge, and the sustained damage in those fights is massive, so shutdowns going their way, also really, really big. That's the Black Cleaver fully completed now for Winston. That's a full death cap onto Misty Stumpy.
I love it. Winston just has the brown bag boots right now. He's like, I need items, I need fight. I can run around with my boots. Zig saying, I need to fight as well. 5 fire, not the first time he's been caught in this top side roam. Not a lot of vision for him up there, and he's just walking around willy-nilly.
It does feel like we're seeing 5 fire play with a little bit of too much reckless abandon, right?
Right.
He's playing almost as though he was the Rise from last game, where he had full run of the map, where he can win every 1v1. As the Syndra, you're not really this 1v1 side lane champion. You have to be taking the safe path. You have to be chilling at the turret and wave clearing. Really, all your job in a side lane as Syndra is to shove the wave and then try to group with your team, right? You're not trying to look for these big plays, and we have seen about 3 times this game him getting caught out, looking for more than he should.
Oof. Charged up that hook, was able to get himself to safety, and now Misty Stumpy looking to set up on the outside. There is a ward that's going to find him out. And this could just give Cole or Cloud the amount of time to set up a bit more Baron vision.
I mean, if Inferno can wait until Flash comes back up for Misty Stumpy, there's no MR on the other team at all. There's like Merc Treads on 2 people, right? That's nothing. This is a death cap completed, plus Proto Belt, rank 2 ultimate on the Kennen. So if you're able to find a really good engage with that Flash, you can solo win a fight for your team very, very easily.
I am always interested to see Kennens forego the stopwatch or anything of the sort. It's interesting. Not imperative, but it's always awesome.
I'm not sure if he had stopwatch talent and then kind of got rid of it. You know, if he
That's
used it
true. I
earlier.
can't remember if he stopwatch now or he did not.
I'm not actually sure, but yeah, I mean, people prioritize just having a higher amount of damage, and the idea that your opponents won't actually be able to turn and focus you if you get that proper engage, right? So they're looking for that kill threat on the back line, and that is why we see him looking more towards the death cap instead of something like that Zhonya's. And I would expect for a third item Zhonya's probably to come through, because as you get further and further into the game, I mean, you get hit by one sort of stun or one sort of interrupt, you can just get lit up. And Zhonya's will at least allow you to, you know, flash in with your ultimate and then immediately stasis and spot that.
We'll see. He's got the gold. Just hasn't spent it yet. Sphere of Soul just finished up over there for Zig. He's pretty big Renekton now. Like we said, it's take a few items, and Renekton is still Renekton, even 30 CS down on his opponent. Just have to find the fights that will get him in, causing enough chaos to the back line.
Yeah, Shojin plus Black Cleaver. He's sitting on 40% CDR, as well as that all-powerful passive from that Shojin. You really can take over a team fight if you're able to kind of reach the back line, get multiple resets on your stun. SPX gonna have to flash out of here. Here comes Misty Stumpy.
Stumpy's just on the right. Do they know he's coming in? He's going to throw down ult immediately. Ruthless Predator onto him to stop him. Nice job by Zig to not let him get to the rest of the team. And now maybe Cloud can turn this one around. Killer Instinct going in. That's going to be Misty Stumpy going down as well. Gorka now with a double kill on the fight. They have to get themselves out. Great vision control with the pink there is going to give him a bit of an idea of how to play that brush. Unleash power onto Wolfie does absolutely nothing. That should be an absolute turn coming in from Cloud. And they're going to start racking up the kills. One traded back there nicely coming in from Evan RL, but it's just 5 fire, and he might get fizzled out. The Cocoon just missing. As we're still waiting to see what happens with the rest of the fight. They're pinging towards the top side to say we can get some work done there as this fight is over. What's next?
Yeah, Cloud wants to be able to grab this dragon, and SPX is running back out on the map here to support. Winston is back up though, so this is a little bit scary. You're very low on health, but I don't think that 5 Fire has the ability to face check into this.
No.
If you walked into a Cocoon, you are for sure dead. So coming out on top in that fight will result in the dragon as well as the 1 kill advantage in that.
Pretty fantastic quick W there on Misty Stumpy here from Zig to stop just slicing Maelstrom only hit him after this play.
Yeah, it's a really good job by Zig actually zoning him out, and we also have to keep in mind this time the ultimate, while it was a good flank, is only on really tanky members. Even if he gets on SPX, that's supporting the top laner compared to the previous fight where he was actually able to get access in onto the Rise as well as the Kaisa. And that really was a huge difference in this fight. Gweiss also makes executing pretty hard. You can see the Q faceplant into the wall, and then also the auto cancel with his E, it looked like there, so he couldn't actually get the passive root out to set up for his team. But very, very close fight, and slim margins actually deciding that team fight.
5 Fire, the Rabadon's is coming out quite soon. He's sitting on 586 gold. Pretty big. Everybody's just about cresting 10,000 now. 8,600 for Evan RL to now the 99, almost 10,000 of Gorica. What a great fight for him last, getting the double kill and not afraid to press R on Kaisa. You can't beat, or just don't play that champion.
Yeah, and when you are playing Lucian and you start getting outpaced by the Kaisa, it's a pretty bad feeling because Lucian is a champion that has difficulty getting the damage out in these team fights. Because you are so short range, if you step forward to auto-attack Rise, guess what? Rise can actually root you and just one combo you, right? And that's very similar with a lot of these champs. When you're in range to deal damage, you're in range for them to deal damage to you, so which makes it very difficult as you get to the later stages. We are seeing a very heavily scaling build for Evan RL, i.e. Essence Reaver. This is not the early game Blade of the Rune King Black Cleaver. This is high DPS, but it just remains to be seen. Can he actually find the positioning and have his team setting up well enough that he can get the auto attacks out and really get that damage down?
They're just tempting each other now. The side lanes are starting to be played a bit, but the 1-3-1 with Renekton and the Rise is going to be a little bit stronger if we can't find Infernal's way to spread it thin or start the fight on who is in the mid lane. 5 Fire looking for that possibly. That would have been Leona for the first hit and a chance to rebuttal for the side of the Cloud Drake if possible.
You can see though, Cloud is just going to be looking to set up in a 1-3-1. There's no one that can actually win a 1v1 against Rise. There's no one on their team that can win a 1v1 against Zig either. So it should be full priority on both sides for Cloud, which just then means for this 3-man squad of SPX, Inori, and Gorka, you just have to not get caught. Buy time. Allow these guys to get their work done in the side lanes, to draw multiple members to them. So it becomes this push and pull. If 2 people go to answer the Renekton or 2 people go to answer the Rise, well, all of a sudden you can make a play on the other side of the map. And that's what I want to see if Cloud can actually pull off here. Or if we're going to see overextensions where someone gets picked, or if the 3-man squad is getting caught out.
Misty Stumpy with the Void Staff. He is going full glass cannon. I love this. I like it a lot. We also see the Morello Namicon for Inori very fast, almost kind of giving himself the fight for Winston here to stop that healing that he gets. And Misty Stumpy's not feeling it from Wolfie right now. That's the one, or the 1-3-1 you were talking about, where nobody can really touch those side laners.
He just came back from base, right? He just healed up, walked out, got Empowered Rune Prison, 1 combo, back to base. Start walking again, right? You're going to fall further and further behind. And Misty Stumpy, really all he can do is try to just wave clear. And if Ryze can actually force cooldowns, if you can force his flash, or if you can force his ultimate out, well, then even the team fight is no longer threatening here. So we're going to have to see Infernal make a play. They have got to find some sort of engage or collapse, or you're just going to slowly lose your base. There's nothing Misty Stumpy can do in this 1v1. Wolfie's going to bleed you out, so it is Winston heading up to this top side, but guess what? That's warded out. He's spotted. Now this is the play where Cloud needs to make something happen on the other side of the map, and they're pinging towards Baron. They should force this.
This could be an easy double kill for him, but they get the Slicing Maelstrom on to Wolfie quick enough. Now it's going to be Cloud going for the Baron. In comes the rest of the team. Remember, Winston is in the bot side. They use the jungler for this play, but the rest of the fight could still be strong enough to push Cloud off. That's what happened. It's going to be a little bit of a reset of the map here, but Cloud do try to go for Baron as they lose Wolfie.
So they got the TP out of Misty Stumpy as well as the ultimate. Infernal had to make a play, and they are able to execute on that. So well done by them. You know, Cloud didn't feel confident to just fully commit to that pit, because if you're stuck on the Baron trying to finish that off and you get flanked, and you have a chance of losing the game right there, right? But that being said, even though Wolfie went down, it's really not that bad. They're not actually losing any objectives off this. There is the ability for them to threaten the Baron if Infernal moves towards that Infernal Dragon. And I think this is actually a really smart setup, though. Just have the Olaf solo the Dragon. The rest of the team can try to ward them off the Baron, and we'll see if Cloud wants to commit to this. They are burning it down really, really quick. They may just try to finish. Yeah, they're going to finish.
Zig's trying to get the backline, but he's already half health. Do they respect him? That's going to be the hit for Inori. He's able to take it down. Bot side's getting Infernal Drake for Infernal, and now it looks like it's going to be the resulting fight. I don't think too many are going to go down on this one. Weiss is going to find a few more in the brush. Lock him down. Beautifully done. Zig's going to be locked in there. Tries to get out for the last moment, and it's not going to happen. They do take down 2 members, so not a bunch of Barons are going to be on the side of Cloud, but enough.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of hard to say, but I feel like that's a positive play for Infernal. We'll see how much they can get done on the map right now before the other members do respawn as they're going in.
Fast flash over the wall. Can they follow it up? A few too many minions there to keep the play going with enough damage. That's Gorica one more time for the Killer Instinct inside the fight, but he could take too many. The crit isn't enough. MNRL with Lucian's Culling just outside range as they are back and forth clawing each other's eyes out as these marksmen go at it with the help of some mid laners.
Great pick from Cloud, and that's going to mean Infernal will get nothing done on the map before these guys respawn. You can see Inori coming back up now, Zig coming up shortly, and this is just a bold call from Cloud. They TP back into the pit with Wolfie. They burst it down. Inori not able to get into that Rise ultimate, though, as he had actually been hit by the Scab of the Week, pushed to the other side of that Baron pit. So Zig and him have to try to make a beeline and get out of there. They are interrupted. They lose the teleport from Zig. This is a well-placed ultimate from Gwei straight through Zig onto Inori. Gets them these 2 kills. Ending Infernal, and we'll see, can they outlast this Baron buff? Because you do have a double Infernal advantage now over on their side, and it's kind of just like long-term that is worth more than the Baron buff, but we'll see if Cloud can get anything done. They have 145. They are getting back up into this 1-3-1. You can see Zig pushing top lane, Wolfie back down to this bottom lane. It is going to be that setup once more.
I will be left to wonder if Misty Stumpy will ever build stopwatch. No, I'm kidding. Still has a bit more pen.
Deal damage.
It doesn't. I like the build still. Super ballsy. And he's been able to kind of weather the storm of a very tough early game and still provide in mid, in late game with that kind of.
And these are 2 guys with Death Cap with double Infernal and a 3rd Infernal spawning, right? So their AP is getting multiplied quite a lot.
Sure.
These are heavily scaling builds. Even the Olaf is doing a full AD build. So, these are very aggressive builds that are going to get the full rewards out of these double Infernal Dragons. And I think, if not before, we will see a fully committed team fight for that third Infernal. Almost no one is willing to give up 3 Infernals to a team like this, where that can push Syndra over the edge to that kind of one combo status. And you're so much stronger if you can kind of hit that mark as a Syndra, where you can actually threaten the 100-0 as, oh, that is brave from Gorica.
You advantage the small advantages. I love seeing that he feels like that weighs more for them to now be in mid lane. A possible dive can happen now with the HP of the turret and the HP of 5-Fire.
I mean, he's pushing them back, right? And you have Zig now threatening a flank. He's rotating towards mid lane. Wolfie's collapsing. They're coming from all sides here.
Gotta expect the unexpected right now. Cloud wants to stay in this series. They are gonna lose Wolfie. That's huge. A lot of damage coming in for the 5, 4, and 10 rise as he's down. Slicing Maelstrom comes in and the rest of the damage follows. Evan Aurel cleans up 2 on the Lucian that's been looking for kills since the early game. Now he's 4, 1, and 6, and it's down mid lane for Infernal.
We'll see how far they can actually go here. The respawn timers are so long. If you make one mistake here, if you get picked as Gorica, the game might just be over. Even if he doesn't, there is potential that they could try to push more the win. With this much time on the res timers, I think they can look for it. And Gorica has no long-range wave clear to try to thin out this mini wave. And guess what? Zig is getting chased down. He doesn't have his TP. He's not going to be getting back. I think that's game.
That's absolutely critical. Gorica comes up on a play that off the back of Cloud could have had mid, could have had a bit more, but instantly attacked by Infernal. Pushed all the way back to their base. And now with their backs against the wall, Gorica's trying to do what he can. Lucian goes forward. It's Evan Aurel trying to get the kill. He does get it onto Gorica, but now SPX is onto Evan. Weiss is trying to get out as here comes the Rune Prison. Oh, the Realm Warp, sorry, he's going to miss rather. And that is going to be a shutdown in for SPX as Zig dropped Stumpy as we're coast to coast with these fights.
Yeah, I mean, Misty Stumpy was willing to commit to the fight because he thought that meant they win if they get it. And Nori going too far, just going to donate his life.
No Zanya's there.
But it is the threat now coming out here from Cloud. They already have Zig working on this top lane. They have Wolfie pushing down here. I don't think there should be any way for them to end whatsoever, but they are going to try to go for this inhibitor on the top side. It was a critical kill from Evan RL, honestly, to be able to take down Gorica. If he is alive, it could have been 2 inhibitors falling on their side, but really back and forth game here. Oh. Cloud overextending, trying to pull off this collapse, but not able to actually time it properly. And that meant they got wiped off the map and almost lost the game, but they are able to hold on. They do not get the top lane inhibitor, but they are very likely going to be able to claim this dragon before Winston can even get in range. So will only be a +1 Infernal advantage, and you have to remember the first dragon is worth much more than the subsequent one, so it is that 12% I do believe coming out for the first, and then the following 7 or 8% or whatever it is. So, very small advantage.
Let's see how this went down.
And it's just not really a winnable 1v1. Even if you do have ultimate, if Zig has his as well, it's not going to be that close. But this is really well played from Zig, not only to get the kill, but also to keep the GA alive there. Stepping out of vision, trying to bait Misty Stumpy forward, and then utilizing that flash for the stun. Does take him down.
I want to see Leandries now from Misty Stumpy. That cannot become a Zanya's.
And look at this again, Wolfie side lane. No one's there. So Infernal
already down,
have got to try to run it down. They're looking to try to end the game. And we'll see, will Wolfie come back? Wolfie is basing now, but remember, there's no Nexus turrets, so they're going to pull back. They will move towards this Baron.
Going to stay. They feel like they can hold the fight on the other side of the map. They're trying to go on to 1. That's going to be Nori taking a bit of damage.
As a GA, and Wolfie is arriving.
Back up. Slicing Maelstrom tries to keep the back line out of the fight, and now a lot of damage is being taken by the side of Cloud. Zig wants back into the fight. Fully charged bar can get a good heal up on champions, but he just can't get the range
Evan!
with Dominus. Evan's down. He uses his GA to get the team in for more of a fight, but that's Weiss. That's Winston. They're all going to fall. Zig's back in the fight with a little bit of help. Steve puts himself in as the sentry the team can use to get more kills. And it's going back and forth as the inhibitor goes down on the side of Infernal. Misty Stumpy looking to light another fuse here as he gets into the base. They can't take much more as they reset once again here 35 minutes in.
Wolfie has his ultimate. If they split up, you could get ulted on here. This is actually pretty risky. You need to be walking out together. He won't make the call to go for it.
Gorica's right there.
Yeah, they are going to back off. We'll see if anyone gets spotted. Misty Stumpy canceled his recall. He was actually thinking about going for some sort of a potential re-engage, but he doesn't have his ult. I don't think you can actually look for this. If you face check the Rise, he's going to one combo your Lucian at this point in the game. It really just takes
Heading out.
one Empowered Rune Prison and you're dead from full.
All right. Once again, reset to the mid lane. Everybody's given up their 1-3-1. Everybody's given up what they were doing before as these fights continue to roll on. Reset the batting order and bring everyone right back. We're at Baron.
Zig ulted for the Baron. They're trying to just burn this down straight up, but Infernal is coming. Misty Stumpy has his ult in about 5 seconds, and he will have flash.
Weiss is in. Depth charge is out. They're going to get the Baron on the side of Cloud, but how many can make it out? That's going to be one down. Nice Realm Warp gets out 4 more, and the important ones is Sandpaper is the only one, the support to lose Baron.
Yeah, Misty Stumpy has the ultimate now, but it was just a second or two too late, it looked like there. The Realm Warp really well timed, but still, you have to remember, no Nexus turrets, 5v4, Flash ultimate available on this really, really strong cannon. So if he can find the angle, if he can reach the back line, that can be game.
That's a grab. They
Here he
have
goes.
Zig. Do they fully want Zig? He gets deleted immediately! Getting taken out. Gorka goes down, and that's going to be the Nexus in the eyes of Five Fire and the Infernal team. They're going to be able to take it down. The initiation comes through, and Infernal will take the win.
2-0 here for Infernal. Able to reach that back line.
Yep.
With that cannon ultimate, as soon as he got on top of Gorka, just absolutely melted. Showcasing the strength of that build as well as the double Infernal here. And this was honestly a very back and forth style of game, but you could see, despite the fact that Cloud had the side lane advantages, they weren't quite able to really play it out carefully enough. You know, when they did look for that collapse in mid lane over by Infernal's base, they mistimed it, they got knocked down, and Infernal was able to always push the pace and force plays in a way that really made Cloud respond more to them. You know, they weren't able to make the most of those side lane advantages because Infernal was willing to say, all right, well, we're just going to go for the Baron. We're just going to go for the base. You must come and answer our play. You don't get to sit in those side lanes, and you do like to see that kind of decisiveness.
I think as the game played out so fast, and this is going to sound weird, is it kind of everybody played with the current lead they had, but that's all they had. Usually you build up a lead. You have a wave pushed here, you have a wave pushed here, but each fight that was lost by either team meant a complete sway of the game, So you never have a chance to build up, okay, we lost a fight, we're still fine in the lanes. Okay, we lost a Baron, we'll just relax and let them have Baron. It was a complete swing, and it's very hard to play in that, and we saw how the players were able to react.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult, you know, when you're having to make these kind of split-second decisions, and when you are trying to play at 1-3-1, even at the LCS level, you know, and at the very high levels of play, when you're getting true professional play, teams often shy away from it because it is so difficult to execute. It's not just can you play the champions in the side lanes. It's not just can you establish an advantage and play that out. It's can the rest of your team play perfectly around that? You know, are you going to have everything timed out so you're not getting engaged on, so you're getting enough of an advantage elsewhere? Are you going to base? Are you going to keep pushing? All these things, if you make that one wrong decision, you lose the game. And we saw Infernal able to kind of test Cloud and punish them on
all these questions. And we actually have some answers to hear more about their win. Let's send it down to Pastry Time for an interview with Infernal's top laner.
Thank you very much, Riv. I'm here with Misty Stumpy. I wasn't going to ask you about the game, but it ended so dramatically in game 2. What was kind of going through the team? What was the communication like? Because you have all not been playing together for very long, and that was a very difficult end game to play out.
It was actually a lot of fun because this team specifically, unlike other teams I played with, the comms are a lot more hyped and just like more energetic in general. So it was kind of crazy, to be honest.
And then, of course, kind of through your development as a player, how's your experience this Scouting Grounds been? Because you've played in Collegiate, you've played at Scouting Grounds before. How is this event different to maybe previous ones you've attended?
This event's like the most fun so far because I went to last year's. But I think like the different team I'm playing with this time, just like overall is just like another cool experience that I get to do that I wouldn't be able to if like Scouting Grounds weren't a thing.
And of course, the experience has been great, but kind of what does it mean to you as far as your future as a League of Legends player? You've been a high elo solo queue player forever. You've been a top collegiate player forever. Are you looking to maybe step into Academy, step into LCS? Is that the ultimate goal for you?
Yeah, definitely get onto an Academy team. That's always been like a priority. And then maybe like a year or two after that, make it to LCS. That's like my dream pretty much right now.
But of course, my question is, how do you possibly balance that with your workload, your school load, and all those other things?
It's really hard to. I only get to play like maybe 2-3 hours a day when other people can play like 6 to 8. Just because a lot of the times I have to do schoolwork, I have to do collegiate scrims, stuff like that. So like on my own time, I don't get a whole lot. So.
Certainly seems to be good enough now. Thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations on the win. With that, we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pasty Chime. And yeah, I got to say, Misty Stumpy stepped up really well. Glad to hear from him at the end of the game as well. But 2-0 for Infernal. And let's talk about Misty Stumpy a whole bunch, because we were like, okay, we saw the draft. You know, in the first game, we're like, we're going to talk about him. Ooh, he's Malphite. Let's go talk about Five Fire. All right, he's on Kennel. Let's go.
Yeah. He's a lot of a carry player, actually. In collegiate, a lot of times his team has made some deep runs late into that tournament, and it's often him playing things like Fiora and Jaxes and these kind of hyper carries. And this was a game where he kind of got abused a lot in the side lane early on, but this fight was the turning point for Infernal, and it mostly came off his ultimate right here.
Yeah, look at that. That was a great timing to go in. And he found points like this throughout the whole game. Like, this was the first one that was extremely impactful. And obviously, you're going to have a bad time split pushing for Rise later.
Yeah.
But he found a way to be useful even with that split push pressure applying to him.
Yeah, I think some of the things in the early game to definitely like work on a little bit is knowing like, am I on the weak side of the map right now? Like, is the enemy team coming for me, and just kind of maybe sacking some turrets that he got caught under. But you know, it was in the least early game, and he's against the Renekton. That's one of the strongest duos for making plays. And then as the game got more team focused into these team fights, he kept making really, really good plays.
Yeah, another one good one there. And also when players, or teams rather, are looking for players to pick up, this is the intangible stuff that's a lot harder to teach. You can't teach a player when to go in these kind of situations. This is something they have to have kind of like an instinct for, where being like split pushing or doing the like more niche 1v1 split pushing beyond the wrong side of the map, that stuff is a lot easier to teach, and it's very straightforward. What he showed just now is not near as easy to teach.
Yeah, same with mentality. Like, when you're getting dove and killed, I think he was 0-4 at one point, or maybe 1-4, but he managed to turn it around, which, on a stage like this, you don't get to play on that much. It can be something where you get inside your own head, and the fact that he's able to bounce back and make these big plays is really impressive.
Yeah, even a point to call out as far as individual mechanics are concerned, right? One of the 2 players to qualify from top lane through pure solo queue, despite the fact that, as he's talking about, like, I can play like 2-3 hours solo queue a day.
Yeah.
And that's enough that he's staying at the very top of the ladder.
Yeah.
Definitely think he's a great player. Would love to see him in Academy sometime soon. We've seen like a lot of NA top laners come up kind of recently, right? Like, Licorice was a year and a half ago or so. Kumo looks good. Like, I think Misty Stumpy's a solid player as well.
Yeah. I was also I was like smiling listening to his interview, because it reminded me a lot of when I was going pro. Obviously, he's in college and I was in high school, right? But it was a lot of the same thing in high school, I remember when I was trying to climb up to Challenger, there were days where I could only play 1 game a day, and that happened for a long time. And I remember being in school and thinking, like, man, what if I could actually just commit my life to this? What could I achieve if I could put more hours into it? And obviously he's obviously a lot more mature than I was when I was in high school, right? And he was able to interview well. So that was just really nice to hear, I guess.
Yeah, and I hope it's something that teams consider too when you're evaluating some of these guys. How young are they? How old are they? What are their life circumstances? Because you might be like, he's only 600 Challenger LP. It's like, well, yeah, but he's also, like you heard, taking tests and learning other things in life beyond League of Legends currently. So, what can he reach as a peak when they are able to dedicate themselves completely?
Yeah. Maturity is definitely pretty important.
I think it's almost more important, right? Like, you can get 2 to 5% more in player skill, but like, actually working with them all year means so much more at a certain point.
As starting as a 16 or 17-year-old and seeing many other people who starting as 16 or 17-year-old, it's quite nice to work with people who are mature.
Yeah.
Camera readiness, also a good one, right? Like, just your ability to interview well. Good. Like, that's really important for a pro team, is to actually have people who can, give answers on camera and build some fans out. So, I mean, sometimes when you just can't coach Noir, you become an analyst, and that's Marcus C's career path. We've got more league action coming your way. Mountain and Ocean hit the rift, so don't go anywhere.
He's just going to take that, Mark?
Yep. He's going to take it.
Nice. Yeah.